Okay. Hello. What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another video. This one, I said this in one of my previous videos, but it's going to be different from a lot of the recent ones. As you can tell by the title, obviously, I'm going to be talking about why I love Batman. But before I get into all that, I was just going to say for this video, I'm not going to do any editing to it. I don't think. I'm literally just going to sit and talk. I'm not mastering my audio. I'm not clipping anything unless something absolutely crazy happens and I have to edit this or cut it at some point in post. I'm not doing anything. I'm gonna sit down, record this, stop, and then I'll watch it back, of course. But I'm not doing anything to it. Um, so yeah, a while back um I posted on my Batman account. I asked, why do you love Batman? Or what do you love about Batman? And I got a lot of really great responses. Honestly, I did read them all. At the time, I read them all like a couple days after I had posted it, so I'd seen most of them. If there's been some since then, I haven't seen them. But anyways, I read a lot of them. There's tons of amazing things that people said, and I said after the tweet, like a few days after, I was like, I want to make a video talking about why I love Batman. And it's been a while since then. Sorry, I've also had a little break in uploading. I was pretty consistent for a minute there, but then stopped. It's been wild, but I'm very much back into it and doing it. But I wanted to start with this video too because I had said that I was going to do it so long ago. So, um, yeah, I want to talk about why I love Batman, and it's crazy. I'm definitely going to ramble. I'm going to just say a bunch of random stuff because like the thing is I don't know how long this is going to be was another thing that I wanted to say at the beginning that I was trying to think of, but I forgot. Got it now. And I don't know. I'm just going to talk. However long it ends up being is how long it'll be. Like I said, I don't plan to cut this down or anything. So yeah, I'm just going to be all over the place and talk about the thing about me talking about Batman, right? Is that I could talk endlessly about why I love Batman, about the different elements, the different aspects, the just everything about Batman and his world and what it means to me and why it means so much, and I would still forget so many things, right? And so I'm gonna say a bunch of random stuff at times, probably just because it'll pop in and I'll be like, I have to mention that. But there's still gonna be things, of course, that as soon as I'm done recording, I know I'm gonna be like, oh, I should have said that. But and that's one of the things that I love about Batman so much, right? Is that there is so much there for me to love and that I do love. And I mean, the obvious like cool shit, right? I mean, like Batman's just cool. Okay, feel like everyone just agrees on that, right? Like his costume, every version of it. Of course, I love the Batsuit. He's got the gadgets, the cars, like the vehicles. He's rich. Like I mean, there's so much cool elements of Batman. The way that he like him as a crime fighter and the way he operates and everything, and that's getting into the more of the psychological stuff, which I'll talk about. But just like the whole aesthetic of Batman and his world is just awesome, and like it immediately draws you in, right? And that's such an like that's one of the things that I love. But like all of that stuff, like out of the way, there's so much there for Batman that just works, and so much that I love, like genuinely, that you can get into with him as a character and what's really there whenever you like look into it. And then there's also just an endless amount of ways that you can use Batman and do Batman's stories and the opportunity that you have with that. Like he works literally all of the time in every scenario. Like we've had Batman, he was going to space and just doing all these crazy things like in the Silver Age, and just going through like he's going to the moon, and him and Robin are on these insane adventures, and like it feels so like he's got a zebra bat suit at one point, a zebra print one, and like it just feels so like it works still. Batman still works in that setting. And then you have the Batman 66 show, of course, but then you also have things like the Dark Knight trilogy, which is of course are like a whole other end of the spectrum for Batman. And then you have things like the Dark Knight Returns, and then you also have like there's just he works all of the time. Like you can do horror, you can do very much a crime angle to it, detective story, you can do a comedic angle to it, you can really lean into the camp. Like he works as a children's hero as much as he does a hero for adults. He works for all ages, and he works in all settings and genres, and it's just insane that that's a thing that he just does. Like you can put him in any kind of story, and that's why one of the reasons he's been so lasting as a character and just being able to have that impact because you can use him any which way that you want and he still works and he still has that impact. He still carries that weight. And there's so much, it's crazy because I try to think about, because I am one of the people, of the thought that like every version of Bruce Wayne, of Batman, whatever your favorite, because like what Batman means to me is not the same as what Batman means to you, whoever is watching. Like it doesn't, your favorite elements of Batman, even though I may say some of them and you may agree, like what Batman is to you as a character and everything like that is different than mine, and that's also one of the things that's so awesome about it. But like, I mean, there are some people who literally live and die by like exclusively Golden Age Batman, who fucking rules, by the way. But like, they don't like anything outside of that, or Silver Age or the Bronze Age or whatever. Or like, there are people who only like the animated series or only like the Arkham series, or there are people who like, you know, a handful of whichever ones, or just like whatever the case may be. Like, that's Batman to them, and that's totally 100% fantastic and okay, and I love that. And like, it's part of what makes him great, and it's part of what being a fan of like a character, like a fictional character like this is, because like they're all these different versions. You don't have to worry about which one is like right. Of course you'll have who in your heart and you're like, oh, that's like my ideal Batman, or you know, you may, but like there's just so, like, you don't have to pick and choose if you don't want to, and there's so many different things to love and see with that. And like, I literally the other day was thinking, the Arkham series might just be straight up my favorite interpretation of Batman, just like ever. There's so much that it does right, but like that's just one rabbit hole that you can go down with Batman, and it's insane. He just, there's so much to him, and the way that I guess part of what I wanted to talk about at a point, this is what I was talking about with it, saying that it was going to be random. So the way that I got into Batman, people would ask me like, oh, what was your first exposure to Batman? Like, how did you, you know, come to enjoy him as a character? And like, honestly, I don't remember not being a fan of Batman. Like, I literally cannot, I don't remember it. It's not, it doesn't compute in my brain. And I also was trying to think about it, and like, I don't know if I saw Batman the Animated Series or Batman 89 or Batman 66 like first. And like, I have no idea which of those I was exposed to first. I just remember they're just all there at the same time, at the beginning in my brain, basically, of my memories. And I know that my dad is the one who got me into Batman and exposed me to the wonderful character that he is. And yeah, it's just like those memories are just there, like presently, like just I can't picture not being a Batman fan and enjoying just sitting down and like watching those over and over again. And because I mean, those were all out by the time that I was growing up. By the way, I was born in 96, so all these had already released, and so I was just able to watch those like literally from whatever age they were like, Alex can watch these. So yeah, that exposure is definitely like what shaped it. And of course, like, you know, had all the Batman toys and Batman sheets and pillowcases and, you know, whatever it was. And my dad built me a Batmobile bed at one point, and it was amazing. And so, you know, was just always a fan of the character. I have this encyclopedia Batman book. I'm heavily contemplating getting up and grabbing it, because it's literally the one that I got. I don't even know how old I was. It's beat to shit because I've had it for so long, but I would just read that cover to cover over and over again. I was just talking about the world of Batman and him and his characters in a deep dive, and it was amazing because like I, of course, you know, didn't read the comics like whenever I was super young, and so that was my exposure to Batman. And then the older I got, the more that I just like learned about him through various means. And then of course, you know, the internet, whenever that eventually came around, I would like read up on it. And the first time really the first time I started reading Batman comics regularly, I read Hush and The Long Halloween. Those were the first two books that I read. I got those at the same time, and I read those, and then immediately after that, we were like 6-ish. It was like 4 or 5 issues in, 4, 5, or 6 issues into the New 52 Snyder and Capullo Batman run. And so I went and I got caught up on that and started reading that and pulling that monthly, and that was my first, and which now I've maybe shown it before, is literally my entire left arm is Snyder Capullo Batman. So yeah, that run definitely means a tremendous amount to me. It's the first comic I got like regularly month to month. It's the first Batman book I read like that. It just has a very special place in my heart, obviously. And yeah, there's and like that's the thing though is that there's that I love. Like I love the King Batman run Morrison. I've been going through a lot of the like older Batman comics recently, and like just reading everything from every era has such there's so much to love in all of it. Like the Batman works as a stealth. Like I'm gonna get into some kind of the specific, I guess, like cool like elements or whatever. Now, like Batman is like a stealth character. Are you kidding me? Like there's this legend in like the night that is just there and like ever present and like strikes fear into the hearts of criminals. And like that's another thing. Like I love solo Batman so much, but he also works so well as a family character and as just like and having that cast and like getting that found family too. Like I'm just going into tangent after tangent here, but like that found family that stems from, of course, the like loss. Like I was talking earlier about how cool Batman is, and like he is fucking cool. Don't get me wrong there, but also he is so tragic of a character, right? Like he literally watches his parents gunned down in front of him, and then he turns that, right, which like I literally can't even imagine experiencing that, and he turns that into he doesn't let it break him. Instead, it makes him incorruptible, right? He says, "I vow on the deaths of my parents, like that I will like spend my life warring on all crime," like, and it's just it's so good, and like I, as a person, love tragic shit. Tragedies are my favorite types of stories, which is awful because they're so sad. But like, I love it. Like, I love comedy stuff. Don't get me wrong, but like, I literally like, I don't rewatch comedy stuff that often. I will like, there's a couple of things that I do, but like, most of the time, if you look at my favorite movies list, like sad as fuck, the whole like 1 through 25 probably. Like, they're definitely like downer movies, but like, there's something about a tragedy that really resonates, and also what he's able to do with that tragedy and from that tragedy. Like Batman is the most hopeful character. Like he has to be. Like don't like he of course like strikes fear into the hearts of criminals, and I mean he does dress up as a bat and beat the shit out of people like at night. Like don't get me wrong there. Like but he and as scary and intimidating as he can be if you lean into that, and that is an element of the character, and like one that I do love, but he's like the most hopeful character, right? He has to be. Like he doesn't do what he does if he's not. Like one of my favorite quotes is from whatever happened to the Cape Crusader, and he says like I fight until I drop, and one day I will drop, but until then I fight. And like that is just yes, like that it just is Batman. That book one is my favorite 2 issues of Batman. It's probably my favorite Batman media ever. It makes me cry literally every time. I'm tearing up now. But that's just is Batman. He just continues no matter what. And like there are so many good Batman moments of him doing that, right? The Tom King run where he's like every damn night they tell me like this is it, Batman, this is the end, and he's like, and I'm still here, right? That's the thing. He continues to get up. He continues to fight. He continues to do what he does, and he also like he believes in the betterment of people, of the city of Gotham, no matter how fucked up it is and how like down people can be and things can be. He believes that there is like that hope there, that things will be better, things can be better. That's what he's fighting for. If he doesn't believe in that, then he's there is no point to what he's doing. And it just like whenever you have to know that that's there. Like you can look at all the other elements of Batman and argue about them and everything like that, but like there is no denying that he is an inherently hopeful character, and like that being at that core is just so good, and it's so great to be able to hold on to, because you have that at the center while you have all this other crazy, admittedly fucked up psychological shit that he goes through and experiences, and what happens in the crazy world of comics. And of course, like really, if you get into it, the amount of trauma this man's gone through, the amount of trauma that everyone in his life like has to go through, and still maintaining that hope and having that hope is just such an it just does so much, and I love it. But yeah, I mean Batman's whole world, like, are you kidding me? He's got like the best rogues gallery that there is. I'm sorry, that's not up for debate. I'd argue with Wall. Like, come on, dude, they're so good. They're incredible. I like all of them, and the thing about his rogues gallery is like they're almost like basic. They're all pretty much basically as deep as Batman is, which is, I know that it sounds so pretentious too whenever you say it specifically like that. I can't believe I just worded that, but like there's so much to every single character in the mythos, and that is connected to, even by like if you go 2 degrees of separation, like everyone just around Batman is so fantastic too, and it just is an incredible world that's been built. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier with like I love solo Batman a lot, but the family that he has around him and that he gets in response to that tragedy, to losing his family. But he has Alfred, and then of course you have, yeah, I'm not going to list them all because the Bat family is quite large. It's a huge joke, but I mean, they're all incredible, right? They all do so much for Bruce as a character, but that's not why they're there. Like, they are as much their own characters as he is, and like and that's why I love him with them. But a lot of the time I enjoy the Bat family more when they are by themselves and they get that chance to shine, because they are just as fantastic of a character like as Bruce is. And so just to have that cast there and in Gotham and having those connections, and then you have the Rogues Gallery, as I mentioned, which is just fucking incredible too. The way that they interact with Batman and what they do for his character, and how just each of them matches up to him and what they can bring from a narrative level, and like, oh, their designs are so good. The whole aesthetic of Gotham is ridiculous. It just slaps head to toe. There's so much there, and that's why too so many different adaptations are so good, because there's so much variation that you can get there, and there's so much great groundwork to start with, and just like, it's so good. It's endless. Like Mr. Freeze, Hugo Strange, Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn, like Man Bat. Give me all of the characters. There's so much, and like those are Two-Face, Riddler. Oh my god, it doesn't end. Scarecrow. There's like, and I can make 20-minute videos about each of them and why I love them in relation to Batman and on their own too, and just Gotham being as much of a character as it is, and like, yeah, I'm just rambling and I'm going, but I said. It's incredible. I just get overwhelmed. Batman is just so much. There's so much to love, and I just, yeah, I don't want to talk endlessly. I don't want to, go on, because as I said, there's just always going to be things that I leave out. But like, yeah, Batman has just done so much for me in my life too, because like, he's the thing that's always been there and always will be. Like, Batman's going to be there's still going to be so many different Batman stories that it makes me sad that I won't ever get to see, but that's also like the cool part about Batman, and like, I put on The Dark Knight like every night before I go to sleep, or like as I'm going to sleep. I haven't done that the entire time the movie's been out. I started doing that after the movie came out. Admittedly, I'll talk about this more in another video, because I do plan on recording a video about why specifically I love The Dark Knight so much. But I literally will admit, after the movie came out, my dad did get a bootlegged copy of the movie. Don't worry, I've purchased the movie like 18 times since then. I have like 9 physical copies, and I have it digitally, so don't worry, I paid my dues. But I literally, since then, I started putting it on whenever I would go to bed, and I thought I was pretty smart too, because I would fall asleep and not finish it every night. So what I would do is I would start the movie at various points in the runtime, so that I would like accumulate having watched it a certain amount of times. So I did that for a few years actually, and then stopped for a little bit, but then just did it periodically, and the last few months I've been doing it again, and it's incredible. Like, I don't even remember how I started talking about The Dark Knight, but yeah, there's so much to love for all of it. And oh yeah, I was talking about how it's just like always been prevalent in my life. Sorry, I just completely got on the tangent and lost it. But yeah, it's just always been there. And so like having that and just like that impact is huge. And yeah, it's just such a comfort thing. Like I can read a Batman comic that I love, and like it will always be there. Like there's just so many stories. They don't go anywhere. I can just go to, I mean, I'm literally, as you can see, surrounded by Batman stuff. Like it's everywhere, and it's yeah, it's amazing. I love him a lot as a character. He's someone then also admittedly he's someone like that connection to my dad. Sorry, gonna get very sad for a second. Apologies in advance, but yeah, like my dad being the one who exposed me to Batman and having that love for Batman like come like from him, and then also like my last name is Bats. Are you kidding me? Like how cool is that? And so like having that and a lot of memories related to Batman, like with my dad, who I did lose like a number of years ago whenever I was 18. So like that also has made like Batman more important to me since then. And it just like Batman just does a lot. like for me, and I know that, and that's another thing to love about it, because I know that I'm not the only person that it's like that for. Like, I know that Batman is in that respect like there for so many people, like, as I don't know, it's so crazy. It's a fit, like he's not real, right? But he has had arguably more of an impact on my life than, like, I mean, most real people that I know. Not like everyone, of course, but like the way that he has shaped me, like, as an individual, um, is indescribable. Honestly, I've spent 20 minutes trying to talk about it, and it's, um, yeah, it's, I don't, I can't, like, it's that I like I said at the beginning, I could go on forever, but yeah, there's just so much I love about Batman, and so much to love, and I guess I think that's pretty much it. I think I'll decide to call it here, because I don't want to repeat too much. And as I started to talk about certain rabbit holes, I realized that they might make good individual videos of me just rambling a little bit about specific topics. So yeah, thank you for watching. If you made it to the end, I appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like down below. Follow my Twitters. I'll have them linked down below. All that good stuff. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't. Turn that notification bell on. And yeah, that's a small fraction, a small part of why I love Batman.